Hello, and a very, very happy new year to you all. It's Nikki here from Happy Hormones for Life, and it's the start of a new decade, if you hadn't noticed. No pressure. Um, and, many of you may be thinking about your health and what you want to do, your goals for this year and going forward. But I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolutions, if you've been following me for a while, especially when they involve, which they mainly do, deprivation, hunger, or extensive willpower, especially after the Christmas period when we've kind of maybe overindulged and we're sort of doing this all or nothing thing. So instead, I like to recommend some intensive self-care. I don't mean going on a spa break or, whatever, having a massage or whatever, although those things are good too. But I mean self-care for your body and your mind, because not only is that going to support your hormones, but it's also going to get you into some good self-care habits for the rest of the year. So over the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be covering my 4-step Happy Hormone Code. 4 real self-care steps that will support your hormones so they're going to work for you and not against you. Because when your hormones are happy, you'll have boundless energy, balanced moods, a slimmer body, and a clearer brain. So today I'm covering step 1 of my Happy Hormone Code, and that's eat. We've probably done enough eating recently, but food is step 1 for a reason. It's the one thing that you can do right away and you will see the difference pretty quickly. That's because food directly affects your biochemistry and your hormone balance almost immediately. So every time you put food or drink in your mouth, it sends a signal to your body and a message, because food is not just calories, it's information. And so your choice of food determines what that message is going to be. Will it support your hormones or will it disrupt them? Will it tell your cells to store fat or burn fat? Will it give you lasting energy or will it crash you? Kind of get the picture. So when you know which foods nourish your hormones so that they can work for you and not against you, then you can make the right choices and start to get the benefits of happy hormones. These are the types of food that really support your hormones and that you're aiming to include in your diet as much as possible. And that's based on vegetables, no surprise there, plenty of them. Remember the 2 C's, colourful and cruciferous. Aim to fill half your plate with veg and organic where possible, obviously not always possible, but as clean as possible. So lots of colour, get those cruciferous in and half your plate. And then we want protein. We want things such as organic meat and fish, eggs, beans, pulses, nuts, seeds, quinoa, organic soy products. Those are the kind of proteins you're looking for, whether you're meat, fish eater or a vegetarian or vegan. You really need to get that protein in. And then we want healthy fats because they support your hormones in a really good way. And we were looking at sort of oily fish, we're looking at nuts, seeds, olive oil, coconut oil, avocados, those kind of fats. And then we want the carbs that are low glycemic, so slow releasing carbs. So things like brown or wild rice, sweet potatoes, the root veg, quinoa, buckwheat, that kind of stuff. And then fruit. Want to stick to kind of low sugar fruits where possible, the berries and the citrus fruits, and avoid those kind of too many tropical fruits like melon and pineapple and all those very, very sweet tropical fruits. So we want to be going for the low sugars. And then water, we've got to remember to stay hydrated and filtered where possible. We don't want any extra toxins coming in to stress the body out. So those are the general principles, but actually when we're looking at hormones, there are some particular things that we need to look out for. And I just cover my feisty 4. You've heard me talk about these before, but that you have 4 main hormones that really control how you look, feel, think, and behave, especially as you get older. So these are cortisol, insulin, thyroid, and estrogen. So I'm just going to look through each of those and what kind of foods are good or bad for them. So first of all, cortisol. How does your diet affect cortisol? And that's your stress hormone. So the bottom line is that the wrong foods can be a real stress on your body and increase your levels of cortisol. Now, we all have stressful lives. We don't need extra cortisol. So we really want to really take that stress off the body by choosing the right food. So what are the wrong foods? Well, it's not a definitive list for everyone, but there are some pretty generic kind of wrong foods for your hormones. Sugar is one of them. We know that sugar is a big stress on the body, and we all know not to eat too much sugar. But what we don't realize generally is that carbohydrates are just long chains of sugar. So when we eat bread, for instance, it breaks down into sugar pretty quickly. and it acts just like sugar does. So it's not just the sugar we need to avoid, it's also those refined carbohydrates as much as possible. Bad fats, a big stress on the body for most people, and certainly not hormone friendly. They are found in all processed foods that are cooked with vegetable oils, obviously deep fried stuff, which is vegetable oils, because these oils are pretty volatile when they're heated and processed. They get denatured and they turn into trans fats. So they can damage our DNA, they can disrupt your hormones, and they accelerate aging. So we don't want that. Food chemicals can be another stress on the body. So, you know, if you look at the label on the average packaged food, you're going to see ingredients that you may never have heard of. And ingredients that wouldn't be in that food if you cooked it from scratch. That's because they're industrial chemical additives, such as preservatives, flavorings, colors, fillers, binding agents, all that stuff, and not things you're going to need on your average home-cooked spaghetti bolognese, right? Food sensitivities are another stress on the body. So if you're sensitive to something like gluten or dairy, they're the biggest two. Every time you eat them, you're going to put your body under stress. So these foods can cause inflammation, which is a stress state, and they can disrupt the absorption of nutrients vital for your hormones. So that's why we really want to avoid them if you're sensitive to those kind of foods. And then toxins in foods can also stimulate a cortisol release, things like pesticides, antibiotics and hormones given to animals, etc. Tap water can contain heavy metals and things like that. So we want to try and eat as cleanly as possible in terms of chemicals as well. So second hormone of the feisty four is insulin. So certain foods have a big impact on your insulin, and these are the carbs and the sugar in particular. Protein has a moderate insulin response, but fat doesn't need insulin at all. So we really want to be focusing on low sugar carbs, you know, the complex carbohydrates, and then the fat and the protein. If we get enough of that, we're not going to be messing about with too much insulin, because too much insulin puts you on the blood sugar roller coaster. That messes with your energy, your mood, your weight, your brain function, everything. So and long term, it can cause increased inflammation and obviously increase your risk of chronic disease. So we don't want too much insulin running around. So we want to keep our blood sugar really nice and stable. And that's going to have a really positive impact on your other hormones as well. And the way to do that is to load up with vegetables, good quality protein and healthy fats. So keep this in mind when you're preparing your meals, and try not to snack too much between meals, obviously, unless you're diabetic or you have blood sugar issues, because snacking all the time just produces more and more insulin. And then we just get more insulin, and we know what that does. So we end up with more fat storing and more inflammation. Third hormone of your feisty four is thyroid. Now, your thyroid hormones need a lot of nutrients to work properly. And your thyroid hormones are under a lot of stress these days. So we need to be including lots of food with the nutrients that your thyroid needs on a regular basis. So this includes your protein. So hormones are made from tyrosine, and that's an amino acid. So you need lots of protein in your diet. So obviously the meat, fish, the dairy, organic where possible, the eggs, the legumes, the beans, the pulses, all that kind of stuff. Protein powder in a smoothie is nice too if you use a nice plant-based one. And then iron. If you're having a monthly cycle, you need to be wary of your iron levels. So it's important to be eating iron-rich foods as well. Especially if you're a vegan, you want to be loading up on that and just making sure that you've got enough iron in your diet. Vitamin A is also really important for your thyroid, found in liver, grass-fed butter and animal products as well. Minerals such as selenium and zinc. So you want to be loading up on your Brazil nuts and your seeds. And iodine, really important for your thyroid. So you find that in fish and shellfish and sea veg. And coconut oil I like for your thyroid because it's kind of a bit of an instant source of energy for your body to increase your metabolism. Number 4 for your feisty four is estrogen. So sugar and carbs are increasing insulin, which can increase estrogen. So if you have anything like PMS or bloating or mood swings or heavy periods or cravings, then we need to be looking at balancing that estrogen. So reducing those sugar and carbs, because that can push it up. Fiber is important to get rid of that estrogen when it's done its job. So we need to be making sure that we're increasing our fiber, loads of veg for that. The veg will provide you all the fiber you need. And then making sure we have a clean environment. So we're avoiding those hormone disrupting chemicals which act like estrogen in your body. So we want to be getting rid of those. And if you're perimenopausal or menopausal, phytoestrogens are really helpful to balance out your estrogen as well. So we're looking at organic soy products, and flax seeds are the best sources of those. So that's my little mini guide for step 1, how to nourish yourself in this January. No deprivation there, just trying to really get those nutrients in to balance out your hormones and make you feel good again. And I hope that was useful. Take care.